Do you think he is being blackmailed?
I have no idea. I can't comprehend, Tucker, what radically changes a man.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene appears to be speculating that MAGA Mike Johnson is being blackmailed. Ooh, oh, what do they have on him? Ooh. Now, this happened in a conversation with Tucker Carlson, where Greene has said that Johnson has completely changed who he is since becoming Speaker.
Mike Johnson has completely changed his character in a matter of about 5 months after he has become Speaker of the House. Mike Johnson is a Christian. He called himself a conservative, always has been. He's a Republican member. But no, Mike Johnson has made a complete departure of who he is and what he stands for. And to the point where people are literally asking, is he blackmailed? What is wrong with him? Because he's completely disconnected with what we want.
So a lot of this has to do with Mike Johnson just literally doing his job as Speaker of the House and passing aid for Ukraine, as well as the $1.2 trillion spending bill to keep the government funded. So, but apparently that is proof that MAGA Mike has turned his back on everything. What is wrong with him? I don't think there's anything wrong with him. I mean, aside from all the other stuff we've pointed out in previous segments, but I feel like this is what happens when rhetoric meets reality. It's one thing to have no power and to be out there screaming, right? And that's what Marjorie Greene has done. And that's what, a lot of people in the fringes of Congress do. They sit there, they scream, they don't have the power to do anything. And then when they do get the power, they're not able to actually do the things that they scream about. And so they have to blame somebody. That's why one of the worst things to do for some of these fringe movements is to give them any power. And that's for the movement, the fringe movement themselves, because once they get the power, they realize, oh, we can't actually do a lot of the stuff that we want to do. And it's because that's not the way the government functions. And so MAGA Mike gets that position, and suddenly he cannot do the things that he said that he would like to do. And so now he's getting challenged for it, and Marjorie Greene may straight up remove him from his position, which would be hilarious. But look, Marjorie Greene, she's an ideologue. She does not understand that you can't get everything that you want 100% of the time. It sucks not getting what you want, but it's part of being an adult, especially when you don't have a majority. Republicans do not have a majority. They have a very, very slim majority in the House of Representatives and a Democratic Congress and a Democratic president. And by the way, if you shut down the government by not passing a budget, that's a great way to ensure that you never get a majority if your side is blamed for it. And who are the who are the American people going to blame? Republicans. Because Republicans have repeatedly threatened to shut down the government and have actually done so on several occasions. So now, getting back to that position, so she talked about how she didn't like the omnibus bill. Well, guess what? I don't like a lot of the things in the omnibus bill either. Like, for example, the ban on funding for the UN's aid program. Okay, that's why we have even more of a starvation crisis in Gaza right now. Not only that, but it increased beds, for ICE, immigration, and more funding for Customs and Border Patrol. We already have the most well-funded Border Patrol that we've ever had in history. And of course, the main problem that I always have with these omnibus bills is how much money gets shoveled to the Pentagon, to defense contractors. Now, Republicans like Greene, they hate it because it's not extreme enough. It doesn't make enough cuts in social programs. And yet she talks about, military spending, right? They love military spending. Republicans always love military spending. Both Republicans and Democrats love military spending. But again, getting back to how extreme, right? How the far-right Freedom Caucus, and which Marjorie Greene is not a member of, by the way, anymore, but still, they want extreme cuts in social programs. But no one is going to they're not going to get a speaker that will hand deliver the results the far right wants, especially when you have divided government. But instead of explaining how that works and understanding how that works, she's talking about MAGA Mike being blackmailed. It's ridiculous. This guy, getting to Mike Johnson, what kind of embarrassing information would you have on him? This is a man who admitted that he and his son monitor each other's porn intake. I can't imagine anything being more embarrassing than that. Ugh. Not only that, but look, Mike has received massive amounts of money from AIPAC for passing this bill. AIPAC is the right-wing, lobbying organization that makes sure that we continue to fund Israel's defense by giving them more money and more weapons. And, oh, look, in return, like a lot of politicians, they got a bunch of money back for their campaigns. And this gets back to what the Speaker of the House really does, what their job really is. And this is not a conspiracy theory. All you have to do is follow the money, right? And you have to look at the politics. As House Leader, your job is to raise money from the party from big donors. That's it. Donors like AIPAC, for example, or donors like from corporate America, business groups. That's where the majority of the money comes from. Right now, Republicans are not doing well in fundraising. And so, look, the speaker before, Kevin McCarthy, the reason that he was in that position is because he was really good at raising money. He had all of these connections to these donor groups. Mike Johnson knows his party needs money. So he's making these same connections, and in doing so, pissing off the far right, which believes that they can get anything that they want if MAGA Mike Johnson would just introduce the kinds of bills that they want, which are not going to get majority support. It's just not how it works. Look, here's the thing. He's doing what is expected from him in leadership, which is to not shut the government down. Because corporations understand they don't want the government to shut down because it's bad for business. Okay? And I don't like this. I don't like how this works. I don't like that corporations and foreign lobbyist groups have so much sway over the government, over legislation, but that's how it currently works. You want to do something about that? Great. Let's get money out of politics. Let's get all the big money out of politics. Corporate money, union money, lobbyist money, ban lobbying completely. Get it all out. But if you're not serious and if you're not having that discussion, then you're not serious about it. You're not serious about fighting the swamp or corruption. You're just saying buzzwords and coming up with nonsense conspiracy theories. And that's what Marjorie Greene is doing. Because it turns out that changing that system is difficult. It's too difficult. And so Marjorie Greene will just sit there and come up with nonsense conspiracy theories, distracting people from the fact that it's lobbying and big money in politics that have the biggest impact in what our legislation ultimately looks like and what things can actually get passed. But again, what do you expect from Marjorie Greene, who, like most of Congress, is on the take from those same legal bribes?